Welcome everyone to today's stick mobility class. I'm Kelly Manzone. For today's class, we're going to do things a little differently for our superficial back line. So you're going to need a dumbbell or a kettlebell later in class in our strength portion when we do a RDL series. And we're also going to supplement for the deadlift. So I'm going to be using these two sport bells for leverage for the deadlift. You could use kettlebells, a bench, or if you're at a gym, you could use a squat rack. So there'll be a couple variations. You could get creative too. And we're gonna need our one short stick and the one long stick. And if you don't own stick mobility, you could use a PVC pipe, wooden dowel, whatever you have access to. Warming up a little differently from the last two classes where we started on the ground, we're gonna start standing and work our way down. Beginning with our short stick, you're gonna go into your stick mobility horse stance, so you're wider than hip width, and I should mention now, if you've got your shoes on, take them off if possible. Be barefoot so you could really connect to the ground. If not, a minimalist shoe will do. So we're wider than hip width, soft knees. We're gonna begin with our short stick and both palms pressing in on each side. Now, if you don't have a short stick and you only have a long stick, you could always hold overhand or underhand on the stick at any time during class. Now, we're gonna park the stick onto our right hip. The camera flips me, so even though it's my left, I'm gonna say it's my right so you could follow along. We're gonna kayak backwards, so we're gonna go up and over to our left, down, and around. Now, as we're doing this, I'm pushing into the stick with just a little bit of tension, and my hips at the moment are going to continue to face forward towards the camera. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of T-spine rotation. So keeping the hips still, I'm going to open up my chest line into the back as I alternate sides. Let's go for 4 more. Up and back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming center, going into some pendulums side to side. I use this as a primer for all of my upper body training, barbell, kettlebell, and as you can see, all the clubs behind me. I use this for circular training also. Great warm up. And now we're gonna park it on that right hip once again, and this time we're gonna kayak forward. So keeping the hips still before we add a little bit of rotation through the upper body. Your chin is nice and neutral, and I like to practice diaphragmatic breathing. So in the case of diaphragmatic breathing, you're going to close your mouth, rest the tongue on your roof of the mouth, and breathe through your nose throughout class. Now we're adding that rotation of the upper body, still maintaining our horse stance. A little bit of tension into the stick. 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a moment, shake your legs out before we reclaim our horse stance. Continuing to warm up through the T-spine. So the month of October, we're focusing on the superficial back line, which runs from the bottom of the foot all the way up to the back of your head. Now, chest height, I'm pushing into the stick. Gonna take that tailbone under. Without rotation yet, I'm gonna look towards my right. The left hand that's in front is pushing into the stick. Again, hips are facing forward. Come through center over to the left. We're going to do 1 more on each side before we add on. Now, I don't know if you could hear that in the background. That's my puppy chewing her bone, so sorry about the sounds. And now, adding on, we're going to rotate 1, 2. Now, on 3, you're going to pivot, right? Releve, lift the heel of that left foot. Come across, follow it through, eyes look behind, and then alternate 1, 2, on 3. Again, pivot, squeeze the glute, reach behind. We're gonna do 1 more on each side. 1, 2, on 3, pivot, proud chest, rotate, and again, that right foot gripping the ground as the left heel lifts. 1, 2, last 1, pivot, squeeze through the glute, and then come back to center. Take a moment to roll out your shoulders. So we're gonna mobilize our neck with just a couple of options. Taking your stick now to your T-spine. Let's take our palms and rest them right on the belly. Now we're gonna reclaim that horse stance, soft knees. Take that tailbone under so you light up that front line. And I want you to take a moment to have those shoulders down away from the ears. Eyes are gonna lead the head. You're gonna slowly drop your chin to the chest and then look upward towards the ceiling. Now, I never want you to move into pain. And I say it every time I teach class, take some notes, mental notes, or keep a notebook nearby and just notice how your body is feeling today, what you might need to address. Now, coming center, we're gonna alternate, looking left and right. Shoulders again, down away from the ears. You're still practicing your breathing. Let's do 2 more. Come center, check your stance. And now alternate, keeping the shoulder down away from the ear. You're gonna dip ear towards the shoulder. Perfect. Let's do 3 more on each side. So we're stretching and mobilizing our neck along with getting into our secondary breathing muscles, our scalene levator. 1 more. Perfect. Come center, take the stick down, roll out your shoulders for a moment, and now we're gonna work into our feet. I'm gonna go on a diagonal here. Still using that short stick, we're gonna reclaim our stick mobility horse stance. Let's have the right hand on top, left hand on the bottom. Now the bottom of the stick is gonna angle in closer to you, top of the stick away from you, proud chest, pushing down into the floor. This outside right foot, we're just gonna lift and lower, working into our toes, into the fascia in the bottom of our feet. So we're going to begin to tap into that superficial back line. From here, take the next one, hold that heel up. Now circle outward. What you'll often see sometimes is people will use the knee and the hip to compensate for utilizing the foot and ankle complex to create that circle. So just be mindful of that. Take a moment, lower that heel, transition over to the left. And again, working into those toes, into that fascia in the bottom of the foot, rolling that heel upward into the calf. Good. Let's do 2 more, then we're gonna circle outward. So take the next one, up, hold, and then circle outward. Again, create the movement from the foot and ankle rather than the knee and hip. All right, so you shouldn't have any movement in your hip line or in your spine. Come through center, relevate now, circle inward instead of outward. Just a few here. Good. Let's do 2 more. Come center, lower the heel, transition to your left side. And again, now we're circling inward, which would be clockwise. Let's do 3 more. 1, 2, and 3, and then gently lower. So even though we're focusing on the back line, this is one of my favorite stretches for the front of the body, the interior of the body. So I'm gonna move and just kind of go on a diagonal here. Stick is gonna be in the right hand. Now my outside left foot, top of the foot down. So this is great to be barefoot. So again, toes, top of the foot down. Take a moment, scoop your tailbone under, right? And then gently roll or rock from side to side, just a little bit. So we're getting up into the shin. I feel a great stretch in my ankle. Yesterday I was walking in Manhattan for quite a few hours in a pair of Vans, and this feels good. Perfect. Let's transition to the other side. So stick is now in the left hand, top of the right foot down, scoop under right here, proud chest, and then you could either keep it still or add just a little bit of movement. I like to do both, and like I said, I can really feel this in the ankle, in the top of the foot and into the shin. Tibia, hold, and gently release. Now, next exercise, we're gonna mobilize our hamstrings, and then we're gonna get into some lateral movement. So I'm gonna take my inside right leg forward. So the stick is gonna come out in, maybe a little bit on a diagonal out from the right pinky toe. Now, bending that back left knee, I'm gonna hip hinge, draw back so this right leg is straight, lift the belly, length through the spine, and then come upright. So very basic and simple. You could reach that left arm forward as you bend into that back left knee, hip hinge, flat back, shoulders down away from the ears. I'm putting just a little bit of pressure into the floor with the stick. Inhale and exhale, try that diaphragmatic breathing. Pause here, place the hand on your thigh, so on the left thigh, and do just a little bit of a windshield wiper. So my toes are gonna turn in, toes out. A little bit of flossing, just like we do in our bow and arrow. Come neutral and upright, changing sides. Now the stick is going to be in the left hand, the right leg is going to be the leg that's behind. Taking that left heel forward, hip hinge, right, length, not hyperextending that knee even though the leg is straight, and upright. So we just gently inhale and exhale and reach, coming in and out, right? So this is our dynamic warm-up. Later on, at the end of the class, when we get into some stretching, we will hold it a little bit longer. Perfect. Let's do 2 more. Hip hinge, reach. Excellent. 1 more. Hold. Hand on that right thigh. Relax the shoulder. No tension in your neck. And again, turning the toes in and out as we work into flossing our hamstrings. Perfect. Realign. Slowly come up. Lateral movement. Take your time. We're stepping out wide. Now, I want you to have your toes so they're facing forward. And Dennis says this, I remember years ago in the certification out in San Jose, really about the connection with the feet, gripping into the ground. And I want you to feel like you're kind of tearing the floor apart with your feet. You're going to take your short stick at chest height, overhand hold, and now pull apart so you activate that posterior line. We're going to bend in, shift into the right leg. So you're not forward into the ball of the foot. Pull your body weight back and now glide over to the left. Lift the belly, length through the spine. Keep pulling apart on the stick. Good. Now we're going to add on. Push into the stick. Glide to your right, rotate the upper body, now pull apart, take your stick up overhead, chin is neutral. As it passes over the forehead, push into the stick. Hold that push into the stick, shift, rotate the torso over that left thigh, now pull apart, breathing. Arms come up, only to where you're comfortable, all fingers stay in contact. As it comes over the forehead, push. Glide again, shift that body weight, pull apart with the feet, pull apart with the arms. Very nice. As it comes over the forehead, push, shift, glide back over to your left side, pull apart. Very nice. Come forward, push, come center, lengthen, stick to the floor, and heel, toe in gently. Now we're going to transition to our long stick. If you need any water, grab a sip of water now. Going into our bow and arrow, so even though we're really focusing on the superficial line, feel like in order to tap into that, we got to kind of unstick our ribs and hips. So stance a little bit wider than hip width. You're going to take your stick out about 2 or 3 inches from the midline of your right foot. Left hand, thumb is going to face down with the palm facing forward, and then your bottom right hand is going to find the sticker. So oftentimes you'll see that people press out the arms first, then the hips. We want to do the opposite. We're going to start by pushing out with the hips towards the wall, and then push out with the upper body. We're gripping the ground with our feet, and that top arm, you're going to have a little bit of leverage, right? tap into that lat. Now that bottom hand, right, we're pushing out, and then you're gonna take that shoulder down away from your ear, and we're gonna continue flossing. So we floss the hamstrings, now we're gonna floss our upper body. We did this in last week's class. So keeping the hip line in the chest still, so nothing's moving but the arms, and I never want you to work into pain. You're going to go forward onto the sagittal plane, and then outward onto the frontal plane. Let's do one more. Hold here, and then slowly come out of your bow and arrow. Taking it over to the other side, you're a little wider than hip width again. Now the right hand, thumb faces down, palm is open towards the camera, and that bottom left hand now is at hip height, about right where the sticker is. Send your hips out first, then press out with that upper body. Take your tailbone under. You should feel nice and rooted with your feet. And now we begin that flossing. All fingers stay in contact with the stick. I'm pushing into the ground lightly, maybe just about 20-30%. I could really feel this opening up my lateral lines down into the hip. Let's just do a couple more. Little reminder, keep the hip line in the chest still. And what I mean by that is you're not moving the upper body as you floss, except for the arms. And then slowly take it back in. Before we get into our strength work, we're gonna go into a lunge variation. I'm gonna go on a diagonal here. So I have my left leg forward, my right leg back. I'm just gonna close this window because the garbage trucks are here. So left leg is forward, right leg is back. Now, the stick, I actually want to change this up a little bit. So sometimes when we're in our lunge variation, the stick is going to be right in line with our hip. We're going to take our stick now and center it with the arch of the foot. Now I'm going to glide into my lunge and squeeze the right glute. Energy is drawing back through that heel. So this is a very active right leg, and that front left knee is above that heel. I'm spreading up the toes, really gripping the ground. Now, my inside left hand is going to come down to the base of the stick, and I'm going to keep that back right hip closed, but pull the stick in towards my body. Hold here for 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. Now in 4, we're going to release that bottom left hand, come up, push down into the floor with the stick. You're going to feel that shoulder girdle light up. Now, lift a little bit higher, get into your front line, hold, and then hinge forward. Left hand to the base of the stick once again. Square off that backside. Just keep that glute engaged. Look upward towards the ceiling this time. Pull the stick in towards you. Hold here. Good. Release. Sweep up. Pause here. Come up a little bit higher. Lean back slightly. You could even open that right arm out to the side. So instead of crunching into your lower back, think of lifting up and out. Perfect. Take a moment. Come in. Shake out that arm. And now we're going to go up and over to the other side. So I'm just going to transition. Right leg is forward. Left leg is back. Now the stick is going to be into the inside arch of my right foot. Sliding out. Again, I'm going to kind of scoop my tailbone under. Active back left leg. Holding up nice and high. My inside right hand is going to come down, hold at the base, and pull the stick in. Now, I want you to be mindful while you're in this stretch, you're not bowing that inside right knee out. Try to keep it right in line with the hip. Release. Slowly come up. You're pushing down into the stick now. Hold here. And now we're going to add on. You could hold up a little bit higher. Open. Lean back slightly. Well done. Now, hinging forward. Second one. Remember, you're diaphragmatically breathing throughout the set. Oh, almost lost my balance there. Pull in. Pause here, you're looking upward, grip the ground with your feet. Then we're gonna gently release. Come up, squeeze that glute, watch your alignment, slide back, hold, and then come upright. Take a moment, lower the knee, lower the arm, and roll out. Well done. Okay, I'm just gonna take my long stick to the side. We're gonna transition back to the short stick. I'm just gonna tie my hair back because I know it's gonna get in the way. So last week we were playing with the RDL series with adding in a little bit of the different planes of motion. So we're gonna warm up using one variation where we go into like almost like a half moon position from yoga. Taught yoga back in my 20s. I think that's what it was called, the half moon. But anywho, I'm gonna go on a diagonal. I'm gonna demonstrate first. The stick is gonna be in my left hand, and I'm gonna use that for just a little bit of leverage. Right leg lifts. Taking the position with the RDL. Right now from here, I'm gonna start to open the right hip. Now, if you'd like, you could also extend and reach that right arm up, squeezing through the glute. Then we slowly close off and come back to stand. So this is quite challenging. If you need to tap the floor, no worries, you could tap the floor with that back foot. So let's go for 3 on each side, nice and slow. Stick is in the left. Find the spot where you can have a little bit of assistance, so that leverage with the stick. Left foot stays down. Remember, we're hip hinging. The left knee is soft. Then open. Keep the foot flex of that right foot. Find a focal point. Close off. Come to stand. 2 more. Hinge. Core is drawn in, right? So obviously it's going to really test that foot angle and that superficial back line. Here comes a puppy alert. Hip hinge forward. And then slowly open, stack everything. Remember, have your focal point. Square off and slowly come to stand. Now we're going to go over to the other side. Take your time, grab a sip of water. If 3 reps is too much and you only get 1 or 2, that is okay. Now this is my less dominant leg, so it'll be more challenging. Pressing into the floor with our stick, activate that lat. Again, focal point, hip hinge. Then we open. Yeah, could really feel a difference. Square off. Slowly come up. Good. Let's do 2 more. Hip hinge. So this is the simple stuff, yet it's quite complex. So there's ways to definitely take an RDL and create challenge just by using your own body weight in different planes of motion. Good. Whoop. Square off and slowly come up. Take your time. Now, we're gonna get set up now for our deadlift. I have a 28 kg kettlebell and a 32 kg kettlebell that I'm gonna use. So this is my home training space, not the gyms that I work out of. So I gotta use what I have, right? Gotta get creative sometimes. Now, they do have the thicker 2-inch stick mobility sticks, the pros, but for today, you could use just like your regular stick mobility wooden dowel, and again, the PVC pipe. We just want to activate our posterior line, and we're going to mimic the start of a deadlift. So we're going to line up our feet up to the calves, hamstring and seat, and all of our back. You're also going to feel that connection to your core and keeping the shoulders down away from your ears. We're gonna go for 5 with 5-second holds. So what I mean by that is you're gonna have your setup much like you would, hold on a second, I'm gonna take that toy away, her favorite. Much like being at the gym with your barbell, we're just gonna focus on pretending we're using our stick mobility stick as a barbell. So hip hinge, right? Overhand grip, let's do, because we're not loading heavy. And we're hip width apart. Now I'm gonna give a gentle pull up, and this is just a demonstration, so you could really see that I'm feeling that connection. And then once I count to 5 and I release it, then we're gonna go into our next rep. So here we are, we've got 5 with a 5-second hold. My timer is right near me. So hip hinge forward, overhand hold, push into the ground with the feet. Now pull upwards, stay connected. Now I'm pulling with about 80% of my strength right now. I could really light up the body. Hold, breathe, and release. Take a moment, come to stand. We have 4 more. So even though this is simple, by the end of that next 4th rep, you should be sweating, your heart rate should be elevated, and your posterior line, the superficial back line, should be lit up. Okay, hip hinge forward, tap those shoulders, and pull. 5-second hold, focus on your breathing, lift the belly, grip the ground with the feet, we're almost there, and release. Come up to stand, shake it out. We've got 3 more. Here we go. If you want, hands to the hip line, hip hinge, overhand hold, pack those shoulders. Now pull, really pull. Grip the ground, feel that connection again. Load those hamstrings, almost there, and release. Take a moment, shake it out. Maggie, I'm gonna have to take away your favorite toy. Here we go, hip hinge, pause, pull. 5-second count. Hold, hold, hold. Stay with it. Breathe. Should be quivering. Now, and gently release. So we have 1 more. I'm gonna get her distracted here. Okay, everybody. Bone, Maggie, go get it. Now, last one. Hip hinge. Grab the bar, or a stick mobility, I should say, and pull. Give it your best effort. Stay with it. You're almost there. And release. Nicely done. So grab a sip of water. We are now going to take our light kettlebell and or our dumbbell, and we're going to return to the RDL series. This time, we're going to add load to our RDL. We're not going to add any rotation into a different plane of motion. So your light bell, I'm using 12 kg, and we're going to do 3 on each side. So if the stick is on top of my right foot, the kettlebell is going to be in the left hand. Standing tall, core is braced. Take a moment, hip hinge forward. You're nice and parallel. Tap the kettlebell or dumbbell. The dumbbell doesn't have to touch the ground, that's okay. And come to stand. So we're going to do 5 on each side. Pack that shoulder, elevate, here we go. Hip hinge, square off. So the great thing about having the stick mobility stick, when you pack the shoulder and engage your lat, you should feel the whole trunk of your body light up. Good. And you can always play with tempo when you're on your own. Let's go 1 more. And slowly come up. I have to apologize for my puppy here because she hasn't, I guess, video bombed class in a long time. Okay, so here we go. We have right side, left arm, pack that shoulder, find your focal point. Hip hinge forward, nice flat back. Drive up. Again, you could always revisit this class. You could save it on the Stick Mobility Instagram page, or you could later watch it on YouTube. And like I said, you could play with tempo, with going on a 4 count or doing an active hold at the bottom. Let's do one more. Almost there. Good. And slowly come up. Excellent work. Take your kettlebell to the side. Grab some water if you need it. So the great thing while you're taking a moment to recover about using this variation with the stick on the top of the foot, and when you kind of extend the arm, I want you to avoid bending that elbow. When you have that length, that shoulder stays down, everything lights up and you create more stability. And as you're at the bottom of the movement, before you're coming up, right there, trunk of the body, driving up, squeezing through the glute, but really feeling that connection to the hamstring and to the calf, that foot ankle complex too. We're gonna do, before we get into our stretching, I wanted to throw in some dead bugs. I'm a big dead bug fan. I think they're fantastic. I like the straight leg variation. If you really struggle with any flexibility and mobility with your hamstrings, you could have a soft bend to your knee. So take a moment, head could be up or down. We want to have that pelvic floor engaged, right? So we're going to do a slight tip, slight tuck. So I could feel my front line light up. Going to take the stick down, or the single stick I should say, right mid thigh. And now I'm going to elevate, tuck my chin. Again, feeling that connection. Now you could always keep your head down, especially if you have neck issues. I'm going to do the straight leg variation. So I'm pushing my left thigh into the stick and then both arms into the stick, and just my right leg is going to lift and lower, and we're going to do 6 here. So this is already the second one. I'm pushing, really keeping that tension. Lower the right leg, lift, don't forget to breathe, push, 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 push. Pull the leg up. I might be off of my count. We're just going to do one more here. Come up and recover. Take a moment, lower your feet to the floor, and then you're just going to shift your knees from side to side. Okay, get your setup again. Scoop. We're aligned. Flex. You could always keep the legs bent knee if needed. And now the left leg alone lifts and lowers. Now you could also, if you watch this back and do this workout again, you could always play with your tempo and go a lot slower. Excellent. So we got 2 more. Again, head is up or head is down. 1 more. Good. Take it to the top and release. Take a moment, stretch out. Okay, so short stick to the side, roll onto your side safely, press up using your upper body if needed. And now we're going to come up to stand with our long stick going into variations of slap shot. So I'm going to go wider than hip width with my legs, taking the stick now to the swell of the lower back with the palms facing forward. Now, we're not going to hyperextend our knees. We're going to hip hinge forward, soft knee. I'm going to go out just a little bit wider. Now, this right side is going to come across, hook to the floor, up and over towards the left. Right now, my hips are still staying squared. So I only want you to hook it to the floor where you're comfortable. And then take a moment, look upward towards the ceiling. Now, even though we've been working our superficial back line, we're going to get into our front line a little bit and still address our T-spine. from here, now gripping the ground, we've talked about it a few times in class, the importance of the connection with the feet. We're going to bend into that right knee just a little bit. Hold. Good. Look upward. 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. Now on 4, shift and bend into the right side. Instead of looking up, take a moment and look down. One more time. We're going to shift over to the right. And again, look upward towards the ceiling. Instead of pushing your body weight forward, pull your body weight back. 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, soften into both knees. Release. Slowly come up. Take a moment, shake it out. Going over to the other side. Hip hinge. Only hook it to where you're comfortable, right? Hold here for a moment before we add the element of shifting. Angle, look upward towards the ceiling. So even though the legs are fairly straight, there's just a gentle softness to the knee. Now, we're gonna bend into the left. Hold. Again, you're still looking upward towards the ceiling. We are getting into the T-spine, but you're also gonna get into your front line. Shift, grip the ground, pull the ground apart. Take a moment, look down, hold. I can already tell this side feels a lot looser than when I was on the other side. And then shift once again. Stay with it and breathe. You're gonna look upward towards the ceiling. Hold 4 counts, hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, come center. Release the stick. Soft knees, upright, and then heel, toe in. Now, we're going to use our short stick along with our tall stick at the same time, returning to hamstring work. This time, we're going to come down. So if you need a towel, you could always take a towel or pillow below your right knee. The short and long stick are going to come up onto your shoulders to create train tracks. You could anchor with the ball of your back foot, or you could do top of the foot down and scoop your tailbone under. So I'm going to take top of the foot down. That's my personal preference. And as I hinge forward and lift the belly, the great thing about the sticks is it helps to like elongate the spine so that you're not kind of hovering over yourself and having the shoulders tense up high. So even if you're working here, that's okay. If you have the ability to go lower, great. Just work again, meet yourself where you are today. Hold. Stay with it. Let's hold for about 4 more counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, slowly bend into that front left knee. As you come forward, you're gonna get just a little bit of that hip stretch. Squeeze your right seat and pull back. 1 more. Again, shoulders down away from the ears, like through the spine. Center that body weight. I just noticed, because I'm kind of distracted with talking, that I was shifting my body weight too far to my right. And then gently bend the knee and come forward. Now I'm going to go on a diagonal here. We're still stretching the same side. So let's anchor with the ball of the right foot now instead of top of the foot down. Left leg is out to the side. We did do this in part of last week's class. And I'm using both sticks for a little bit of stability. I'm going to hip hinge, sending the tailbone back. So I'm working into that, a little bit of that posterior lateral line, but I'm also working into the fascia deeply into the right foot. So hold here. Now, if you want to get into the lats a little bit, you're just going to kind of take your knuckles, push out into the sticks, and corkscrew the knuckles forward just a little bit. And breathe. Now, if you don't have knee issues and you're comfortable with this, go top of the foot down, pull back, go a little bit deeper. Hold here, and then we're simply gonna rotate, flex, Again, length through the spine, pushing into the sticks, pushing the heel down, toes upward towards the ceiling. Hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3, on 4, flat foot, slowly come up. Good. So let's do the other side. Now we're taking the sticks to the tops of our shoulders. So the left leg is going to be the leg that's back. Right leg is forward. And find your alignment. I could always tell, like today, I've been, I say it every week, but I'm pretty close to hitting 2 million meter mark on my rowing machine, and I feel it. And plus I was walking in the city yesterday. So our bodies do feel different day by day. Hold here. Again, watching your alignment, focusing on your breath. And then bend into your right knee, come forward, squeeze your back left glute, kind of scoop the tailbone under, and then shift again and hold. Notice if you're sinking heavily into your left hip. Use the sticks to your advantage, right? So they could really kind of help you to maintain your alignment. Hold, and gently come out of the stretch. Now we're going right leg out. So instead of the toes creeping away, I want to get the most out of it by trying to keep the toes facing forward. So we really stretch the ankle. Now, we have both sticks, bottom of the sticks facing inward. Anchor with the ball first of the left foot before we go top of the foot down. Now the upper body hinges forward, but you're pulling that tailbone back. And then I'm going to corkscrew the knuckles, maintaining that nice length through the spine. So shoulders aren't hiked up towards your ears, keep them down. Stretch, work into the bottom of that left foot, right into the toes. If you have any arthritis in your feet and this is too painful, you could always transition to the top of the foot down. But right, it's important to keep those joints moving. Motion is lotion. Top of the foot down, pulling back deeper into the stretch. Again, maintaining length. You could work up higher if you have any discomfort in your knees. And now you're going to flex that foot, toes upward towards the ceiling. Breathe. We're going to hold here for 4 counts. Hold 1, hold 2, hold 3, and then on 4, flatten that foot. Slowly come out of the stretch. We're going to take our short stick to our side. Now we're going to stand as a transition going into kneeling monkey hang. So if you need, again, a towel or pillow for your back knee, by all means, grab one. We're going to start with a stick outside of the left hip with the left arm up high. The outside right leg, you're simply going to step over, and it's going to be on a diagonal. That back right knee is going to lower to the floor, and the back shin is kind of windshield wipered out, so it's not in line with the hip. Now, our bottom right hand is going to grab the stick. So again, I'm going to allow this inside left hip to dip in towards the stick. Then pushing down into the stick, pulling across with that right arm, we're going to reach. So more lateral line, even though it's not so much a superficial back line focus, but this is such a great stretch, and I really wanted to put it in today's class to finish with. And now as we open, we're going to extend and reach the right arm forward, slide the left arm down, and then that wrist should be almost in line with that shoulder, and it's leveraged to the floor. So now you're going to light up that front line too, and then angle, look back at your left hand, hold. Take your glute, again, squeeze it under. 4 counts, hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, slowly come up, square off, tuck the tailbone under, and come to stand. And now we're going to do the other side. So stick is to the right, in line with the hip. this outside left foot, cross over on a diagonal, step the back right knee down, and now left hand comes across, push into the floor, rotate. Again, you're allowing the hip to fall out to your side. Hold here. And then gently release. We're going to push down into the floor. So your right hand, again, is going to slide down, reach that left arm forward, and then look behind you. Hold. 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, slowly come through center. Square off. Oh no, Maggie. And come to stand. Okay, we did it. Hold on. Here's the little culprit for the sound. This is Maggie May. I apologize about her interruptions. Normally she's very, very good about not interrupting class, but today she made some noise. So if it distracted you, again, I really apologize. I'll make sure she doesn't do that next Tuesday. I'm Kelly Manzone. You could find me on IG at KelsBells88. And be sure to check out the Movement Made Better podcast that you can listen to on Spotify or Apple. And of course, check out the Stick Mobility YouTube channel. You could, all these classes are uploaded, and there's a ton of useful tutorials on their YouTube channel too. If you ever have any feedback for me, please feel free to reach out to me. You could DM me, or you could message Stick Mobility. Until next Tuesday, have a great day. I hope you enjoyed class, and I will see you soon.